Get flocked.
What the flock?
Privacy Academy with Eric Meter.
I'm sure you guys have heard about it. Flock cameras are popping up everywhere, and it's for your safety, right?
What are you talking about? Of course it's for safety. You just need to trust us.
What doesn't say safe and free like being recorded 24/7 when you're at the grocery store, when you're walking down the street with your dog, when you're driving to the gas station? You want to be on camera, right? I mean, life is just one big reality show. So you might have already heard about flock cameras, and you might be wondering, well, what is a flock camera? Well, what better source is there to answer that question than Flock themselves? So look at this beautiful corporate page. Here we have it. Technology built to support safer communities. Of course, that is a very loose definition, right? Flock is a public safety technology company that builds connected camera, audio, and investigative systems to help communities respond to and investigate safety incidents using objective evidence. Wonderful. Love that objective evidence part there. Beautiful. Flock technology combines video, gunshot detection, and investigative software. That's a key point I want to talk about later. Investigative software. That's not concerning at all, right? To help law enforcement, schools, and businesses locate vehicles, understand incidents, and collaborate across jurisdictions while maintaining clear privacy safeguards, local control, and responsible data use. Just remember, it's objective, right? It's not like there's any technology that can just make anything out of video, right? It's not like we have some super powerful AI that can turn me into, who knows, Gandalf right now, right?
Get flocked!
So we can trust it, right? We can trust videos we see online. I'm sure that's very clear, right? Well, let's look at some of the implications of what's going on with this. Now, take a look at this video. This is really unbelievable. So this is a guy who was able to go into Flock's system and actually look at the videos that they captured with those cameras. I really like when people do this. I mean, recently, someone I know who's a security consultant, Paul Moore, exposed that the EU's digital ID software could be hacked within 2 minutes. And that really scared people because still, for some reason, people are more afraid about hackers and scammers getting their data than the government. They just have so much blind trust for the government that they think they're better than hackers and scammers. But really, if you give this technology to a government, which they have it, and when they fully implement it, it will be the most tyrannical government you've ever seen in human history ever. And that's not an understatement, right?
Whether you wanted to watch this footage live in real time or look at footage from a month ago, you could just point and click your way to it like you were watching Netflix. I could watch a man rollerblade and then take a break to watch rollerblading videos on his phone.
I mean, seriously, looking at rollerblading videos while rollerblading, that's just dangerous. He needs to take more care of himself.
How? Because the camera's AI automatically zoomed in on it. Just like it zoomed in on a couple arguing at a street market in Atlanta.
No, to be fair, those people had it coming. They were arguing in public.
So what? They're still anonymous, right? No, they're not. Within 2 minutes of open source intelligence using a commercial facial recognition engine, I found out that one of them just finished medical school and the other is dealing with chronic irritable bowel syndrome. The couple also just had a baby last year and they have a pretty concerning debt to income ratio. I also know that they drove over 45 minutes from their address in the suburbs to attend church in Atlanta that morning, and then they checked out this market and bought a sweater. Just saying these words out loud nauseates me.
That's just propaganda.
That is extremely shocking, and I'm really grateful for the video that was posted here. So you have to ask yourselves, why are people so okay with this? Why do people, willingly give away their privacy to this point? And I think a good question you can ask someone, hey, can you unlock your phone for me and let me look through all of your messages and all of your photos? And of course, people are going to be like, no, that's creepy. Why would you want to do that? But then I'll say, okay, are you fine with someone at the government doing it or at a private corporation? Because just because you see me face to face asking you this question, it's weird. But really, people have that level of access and they're doing it. They see everything. I want to show you another quick video here where it shows how this has been incorrectly flagging someone as having a warrant, even that they don't, and they're constantly being harassed because of it.
I continually am getting pulled over. I can't really use my truck in any fashion.
A Coloradan keeps getting pulled over because Flock surveillance cameras tell police he has an active warrant. He doesn't. but he can't convince the surveillance network to leave him alone.
Over here, they zipped out of nowhere and immediately got behind me with the lights flashing.
There was no crime committed.
No, I don't have a warrant.
Did you ever think to consider that maybe he was breaking his carbon score allotment?
Kyle Dosman is getting used to sitting in his car.
I don't think this warrant has been on this car for very long, and I got pulled over again. It was actually by the same officer. You need my license?
No.
Okay.
I remember you, man.
Okay.
The Cherry Hills Village Police say the Gilpin County Sheriff has a warrant out with Kyle's plate, and it was put on a flock camera hot list.
Everywhere in the state, every time I pass a camera, they get alerts in their car that I'm in the area.
The flock cameras did alert to his license plate being associated to a warrant.
But that Kyle doesn't actually have a warrant.
Nobody should be stopped when there's no legitimate law enforcement purpose for that.
Kyle has called both the Gilpin County courts and sheriff's office to get off the list.
So the smart technology that they have is still dumb. It's dumb. I mean, it makes mistakes. And so look at the inconvenience it's causing on his life. And so they can cause this inconvenience if they want to. They could say you're guilty of whatever crime they want. Or, you know, you could fall victim like this guy who hasn't done anything and just gets marked incorrectly and just constantly gets stopped. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So I've been talking about surveillance for over 5 years. My father's been talking about it for over a decade. And one of the biggest topics that we always talk about is the social credit system that exists in China, where basically everything you do is monitored. It's tied to your ID, your digital ID, and then you're given a score for it. And then when you have a low enough score, you get punished over and over and over and over. And, you know, I used to bring up this article. Here, I'll pull it up right now. So in China, facial recognition tech is watching you.
China #1.
And so this was in 2018 when I first started talking about this. And they talked about having 2 million facial recognition cameras all over the country. And still people didn't believe it. They're like, oh, that's not true. You know, this is just a conspiracy theory. It's not happening. And these same people are still not believing it when they see these flock facial cameras popping up in America. I mean, how hard do you want to be slapped in the face? It's going to happen if you don't stand up to it. And so the Chinese social credit system is coming west fast. And so I wanted to quickly bring up this website called DFlock.
DFlock is a terrorist organization.
This is a great website. And basically what it does is they try to map every flock camera that's in the US. And so you can launch this map here. And then what it will do is it'll just render the map and pull up the cameras, like I just said. Okay, so yeah, here we have it. This is a map. It looks like a heat radar or something, but this shows you where every flock camera is.
Don't show this map. This is just going to encourage vandalism. That's awful.
And so I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. So let's pull it up. Let's see what's going on here. So we got one here. And it even gives you a photo of it in case you want to look at it in person for any reason. And then, yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. It's a fantastic tool. It can help you understand where they are, where they're being popped up. I mean, look at this. Nebraska's the middle of nowhere. Sorry, Nebraskans, but it is. But I mean, like, what is this? I've lived in Nebraska for like 20 years. I don't know what Nele is. And there's a flock camera here. I mean, they're really just putting them everywhere. They're trying to make it so you can't hide from it. And this is a clear example of how the government is working in this crony capitalism form of public-private partnerships. And those are big words, so let me break it down. Basically, the government has its rules and restrictions based off of the Constitution. And so they can't just spy on their citizens legally, even though they do it. I mean, they're breaking the law. But what they're doing is they're going to these public-private partnerships. So, for example, with Flock or with Google, where they give a lot of government funds to these companies, and in turn, the companies give the data to the government. So it's a roundabout way. I mean, Flock or Google, in my opinion, is basically a wing of the government because they're just a surveillance tool.
Surveillance is the #1 tool in identifying a free society.
So just know when you do go for that 2 a.m. McDonald's run and you order 2 double cheeseburgers, you're not the only one judging yourself. There are a lot of people watching. And of course, there's people, you know, the bootlickers who just say, oh, this is good. You know, we can stop crime. Well, I want to ask you, what defines crime? What defines morals? It's the people who hold the power. You know, if a government has total control, they get to decide what's good. They get to decide what's bad. And there's no such thing as justice because it's just loose definitions held by them. And so where is this headed? Where is this facial recognition camera system headed? Well, Palantir has this software called Gotham, and it is very scary. And basically what it is it's designed to identify pre-crime. How wonderful is that, guys? Crime that you haven't committed that they suspect you of committing. So let's take a look at their website. Your software is the weapons system, operating system for global decision making. That's great, right? I mean, we've already seen how many people are willing to give up their decision making skills and use AI instead of just doing it themselves. But I mean, this is really scary. I mean, I did an article or a video the other day talking about the government using AI for their military decisions. Well, it's coming to the police too. So let me give you a real world example for this. And so this is an article about the German police expanding Palantir's Gotham software as a way to control people, basically. So basically, the way the tool works is it gathers all of this data from your personal records. If you have a criminal history, through social media, yes, what you post, who you're friends with, what you like, that sort of thing, and your cell phone data. So let's say you make a call with someone, maybe you're texting someone, maybe it's what you say in those texts. And there's 3 federal states in Germany already using this. So Bavaria is using this, Hesse is using this, and North Rhine-Westphalia. And that's where I'm from too. So hopefully me and my friends' group chats don't get leaked because 1, I'm very anti-surveillance. They'll see that. And 2, we have a really dark sense of humor. So
I know what's in your group chats.
They're probably flagging us to commit awful pre-crime. But all jokes aside, I mean, this is very terrifying stuff. I mean, if they're going to look at your jokes or your texts or whatever,
those jokes are not funny. You're going to jail.
And mark you as a dangerous individual and punish you before you do anything, that is crazy. I mean, in America, we have innocent until proven guilty. That's after a crime has been committed. So they're talking about guilty before proven innocent, before a crime. I mean, it is absolute tyranny. And it's not just Germany, right? Because I use a lot of global examples because this is a globally coordinated attack on liberty. It's happening everywhere. It's all in lockstep. You can look around and you can see the whole plan. You know, yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to put the puzzle pieces together. When Glenn and I first started, it was a little bit, harder to put, but now it's just all in our face. It's really easy to look at. It's happening in the US too. And so this is an article about Palantir being used in New Orleans. And this happened quite a while ago.
New Orleans is the perfect place. I mean, that place is a cesspool.
I mean, this article is from 2018, but some of the stuff in this article happened in 2012. And so it goes to show how long they've had this technology. And hopefully it goes to show how much time they've had to perfect their technology and how powerful this technology is now. So basically what happened in 2012 to 2018, New Orleans Police Department used Gotham as a way to reduce murders, right? And that sounds great. Of course it sounds great. That's how they always want it to sound. The way it worked is the software performed analysis of social networks. So it linked people known to gang members. So maybe you've got a friend who is a gang member and it sees that you're friends with him. It analyzed people's criminal history. So maybe you shoplifted when you were like 13 or something like that. And then your social media posts. So if you post stuff that's a little bit alarming, and then it does stuff like your address, your vehicles, whether you have any weapons registered to you, and it creates this profile on you, and then it gives you a risk factor determined on that. And they call it a risk score. Again, they use this to stop murders, right? It's a strong argument. Okay, I would want a safer society. Who doesn't want a safer society? They determine what's good or bad. They determine the law. And so while it starts at murder, they're going to go down this road where it's going to be if you speak out against the government, if you don't believe propaganda, if you don't listen to their every single rule, you'll be punished to no end about it. So public safety is just the excuse that they use to get their foot in the door. And earlier in this, I mentioned the Chinese social credit system because really this is the end goal. They want to have a system that's always watching you, always analyzing you. They've got this profile on you and then they're judging you. And by that, I mean, they're either rewarding you for being compliant or they're punishing you if you're not compliant. And so in China, they have many different forms of punishment. I've talked about this at length. I mean, I've done like a whole 40-minute super detailed video on this, which I recommend you check out. But let's say you have a really low score, right? This happened, I think this was 2020. Yeah, 2020. So China's social credit system shows its teeth, banning millions from taking flights, trains, and buses and public transport, basically. And so what does this mean? It means once you've been deemed a bad person by the government, you can no longer fly. You can no longer take trains. Maybe you can't take buses.
2 million people not using public transport is not enough. We need to dramatically lower the population.
And so what I call this is geographic isolation. And so if you look at cars that are all digital, you look at any form of travel nowadays, it is happening. It's designed to be smart. That way it can identify people that they don't want to travel. And it forces them to be stuck, like they're on home arrest, basically. And so what I call this is geographic isolation. They also have financial isolation, where maybe they're going to dock your pay. Maybe they're going to make food more expensive with that dynamic pricing. Maybe they cut your bank accounts or freeze your bank accounts. No, that can't be. They're going to freeze your bank accounts. They would never do that in the West, right? And then the other side is the social isolation. And so that is where you become basically like a leper, like you have a contagious disease. And so, for example, let's say I'm blacklisted and I want to call my friend. And before they pick up the phone, it says, hey, just so you know, this person's blacklisted. If you take this call, you're going to lose points because you associated with them. I mean, it's like what I said in the Gotham thing. It links people's connections to each other. And so they try to isolate you in every form of like house arrest, financial arrest, and social arrest, basically, where you're isolated to the highest level. And so you don't even really need a gulag anymore, because if you're blacklisted to the point of just, no end, you're just going to be homeless on the street. You have no access to money and no one will interact with you. So you can just starve on the street. Sorry, it's pretty bleak to say, but that is what they have planned. I don't think it's going to happen because enough people will wake up, but it's important that you know that.
Come on. It's just for your safety.
And I want to show some real world examples for this. I really recommend you check out this account on Twitter, Songping Ank. I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation, but this is a post about ID in China. And so basically what they're doing is they have to scan this QR code to identify themselves. And what it's doing is it's checking their vaccination status and their COVID test results in order to use a public toilet. And so that's just one part of it. I'm sure it checks whether they're blacklisted or not. And so you have to meet the criteria that they determine to use a public toilet. And you might be saying, okay, well, public toilet, woohoo, not a huge loss. And you might think that, vaccinations are good. That's your own opinion. That's not the point of this video. Let's look at how far it'll go down the rabbit hole. So basically what they want to do is they want to geofence parts of the city. And so what this means is, let's say you want to go to a different part of your city. They have one of these gates like this one in this video where you have to scan your identity and you can't leave unless they deem you worthy of leaving. And so that goes back to the geographic isolation where they're literally locking you down, physically locking you down. So it's pretty terrifying. But again, I just want to highlight that this is their plans. We need to have a mass awareness of what's going on. And then once it's aware, we need to have mass non-compliance where people say, I'm not going to stand for this tyranny. I'm going to reclaim my privacy. And when it comes to privacy, I think it's important to do this 80-20 principle where a lot of people say, oh, I want to be absolutely anonymous. I want to be a ghost, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of work. I mean, that's weeks, if not months of full-time work to get yourself off the radar, out of their systems. And it's kind of useless, honestly. I mean, the point of it should be that you get yourself out of big tech. For example, you get a de-Googled phone, you use Linux, you use privacy software that cuts off the flow of data. And then once you're at this critical mass point in your own life, you should switch all of your focus to spreading awareness. And then that's what gives you the tools to not comply with them. Because if you're on their systems, if you use everything from them, how can you exit it? It's all about non-compliance and spreading awareness. And if you want to learn more about this, I really recommend you check out our website, privacyacademy.com. We have a free ebook that's all about de-Googling your life and giving you the first steps for it. All you have to do is sign up with your email address. And we always recommend using an alias email address for the privacy reasons. So go ahead and check that out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more like this, please like, comment, and follow me for more. Thank you.